E ngā mana i ngā reo, e ngā karanga maho te motu, tēnā koutou katoa. A tēnā tātou I raro I ēnei tū āhuatanga e pāna ki a tātou anō, o te rā e pāna ki tau tātou nei kaupapa kōrero, ara ko Thankful Thursday. Kia ora everyone and welcome to our segment of Thankful Thursday. I hope you had a beautiful week. It's been a busy week here in Rotorua. I'm currently coming live from the Rotorua Energy Event Centre. We've got a tip-off tournament for secondary schools. It's a pre-season tournament that runs from today all the way to Saturday. So I'm down here supporting the Rotorua Basketball Association and the events that are going down. So we've got teams from Auckland, Taupua, Whakatane and Hamilton, and a few from down in Wellington. So we're very thankful for opportunities for our young people to get these days, especially under COVID. And so we're talking about sports. We're going to move away from basketball and we're going to head to another sporting code. And our guest speaker tonight, she happens to be my beautiful cousin who lives in Australia, and she's been there for a while now. But her ahua has just been one of those people that has done really well in Australia. So here we go. I'd like to bring to the forefront of our korero tonight is my beautiful cousin, Nella. Hey, Nella.
Kia ora, Kaz.
Oh, tēnā koe. Hey, first of all, thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us tonight. And like I said, it's just a catch-up korero because the interesting part of this conversation, whānau, is that this particular person has been playing a elite sport in a different country, but she's like totally Kiwi as. And so so I just got to ask you, before we get started into this conversation, just tell everyone whereabouts in Australia you are and how you and I are related.
Yeah. So kia ora, everyone. So I'm currently in outback Queensland in Roma at the moment. So it's about 6 hours west of Brisbane. And myself and my beautiful cousin Iwi, my mum, his mum and my dad brother and sister. So yeah, I was lucky enough to see you not so long ago, obviously, Kaz, for when I was able to come home to be with our dad as he passed away and have his tangihanga at home. So that was really good, given I think the current circumstances, to be able to come home and really sort of be immersed in our whānau culture. So that was, that was really cool.
It was a beautiful time, and
Yeah,
yeah, we acknowledgement to you and your whānau, and especially to Uncle Takato mai e Uncle Ito Moingaroa e moi e moi e moi. But yeah, cause it's a beautiful kaupapa. You know, it's really there, and during those hard times, and we'll have a conversation about it while we're on the subject. It, even during these hard times of COVID, um, you had the opportunity, you and your brother had the opportunity to get back home to Aotearoa, to spend some quality time. Might have been that long of a period of time, but it's quality time. Not only with your papa, but with your beautiful sisters and your other brother and their kids and stuff. And you know, looking at your father's photos and just that time frame that you were back, it just brought back so many memories in regards to how much we just take those little moments for granted. And
yeah,
I just wanted to say, yeah, you're definitely right. And I'm thankful that you had the time, you and your brother both had the time to come back and spend some time with Papa before he passed away. And
yeah,
also just spend some time with whānau, you know, and that was one of the biggest things that when we came down for your dad's tangi, was that although tangihana are the only reason why we sort of catch up to each other, at least we actually catch up and we make good use of that time
yeah,
to spend
yeah,
with each other. And you know, unfortunately, yes, it's tangihana, but also your dad was a real pioneer in that sense of making sure that our whānau um, we're looked after. You know,
yeah,
manaki was one of the big things, and so yeah, thank you for bringing that up. It was a beautiful time that we had done in Porneke with you and your whānau, and you know our prayers are always with you and your whānau at that time too. We're going to head into the next kaupapa korero before I start crying.
yeah. It'll set me off too.
Oh, well, and Ty is on too. Our other first cousin Ty, she's
Yeah,
on there as well.
too much
But
vodka.
yeah, and so one of the other questions is that you've been playing rugby for how long?
So since I was about 6, so my twin Matt was playing, and Dad was actually coaching, and me just being the hoha wanting to play with my twin brother, I jumped on that bandwagon, and so I when I eventually had my break, it was 22 years just straight rugby. So yeah, it's a long time.
Very long time.
Yeah.
But within those 22 years, you had many stepping stones. So of course um, you started your career off here in Aotearoa. When did your career start kicking off in Australia?
Well, when I probably I when I first moved here, so I've been in Aussie for 12 years now. So when I first moved here in 2010, I probably didn't take it as seriously as what I would like to. Well, no, I just didn't take the rugby seriously at that time. I'd actually, prior to moving to Australia, I'd been in the Black Ferns camp. Um, and I think it just was all probably moving a little bit too quickly for me. And I think my maturity levels at that stage, so my passion probably fell off a little bit. So when I first came here, it was just being able to play, but still have that competitive nature, but not sort of looking to chase anything in particular. Um, I was sought after here early on, but I also had a really strong belief that no, I'm not playing for the Australian team because when I was a kid and I grew up, I always wanted to be a Black Fern. So, my I think that connection to home was always no, I'm going to go home and I'm going to make the Black Ferns. And I think the older I got, the more I realised, well, for one, your body can't do this forever, um, but two, you're missing these opportunities to do well here in this country. I'm not looking to move home any sort of time soon. So once I probably made the decision that I wanted to, give the Wallaroos a good crack, it was probably I think 2015. So I'd played club rugby from 2010. I'd played for Queensland, I think 2016, 2017 when I debuted, and no, it was 2017. So 2017, I made the decision I wanted to be in the Aussie squad. I made the Queensland team, and I trained really hard, focused on sort of what I needed to do to make it. And once I actually put my foot down, I made the Wallaroo squad. So that was really, like, that was an awesome achievement for me. I think I'd probably, looking back, gone, I wish I'd probably made use of those opportunities earlier, but hey aha, I took that opportunity, and sort of, yeah, ran with it. So I was with the Wallaroos for probably about 2 years. So yeah, no, once I finally made that decision, I sort of hit the ground running with it.
For people like you that have been in that industry for such a long time, but moved from Aotearoa over to Australia, was the transition that easy for you?
Rugby wise, it kind of was, just because. So when I initially was living here, it was in Brisbane. There's so many Kiwis there. For instance, like one of my coaches, a lot of the girls I played with, I used to play with back home. I grew up playing with them, playing against them. So our team was predominantly Kiwi. So the transition in that sense wasn't too difficult. For me, I think going from probably having that opportunity with the Black Ferns to having it with the Wallaroos, they were also very similar, but this again is going to 12 years difference. So I think the difference in the program, because New Zealand's so big on rugby, they are a lot further sort of along than, say, what I think the Wallaroos are. They're making steps to get better, but there's still a lot of progress and a lot of mahi that still needs to be done.
And in regards to that mahi that needs to be done, is there a stepping stone before you get into the Wallaroos that you had to go through? Or like, say, for example, if I was like 20 years younger, a female 20 years younger,
Yeah.
and wanting a career and trying to get into that team, was there stepping stones that you had to do? Like, did you have to go into the development squad to go into the bubba bar, then get in there? Or was it a transition like you were sought after? Was there did you have to compete against any other people to actually get a spot with the Wallaroos?
Yeah. So how it was when I made the squad was you had your club rugby, which you would play every week during rugby season. At that stage, they weren't investing a lot of money into women's rugby. So it literally was, you were picked from playing, I think it was across 3 days. So they would modify the games. So you would play, I think, 4 or 5 games over 3 days, and that was it. So whereas now they actually have a competition that's played weekly for about, I think it's about 8 weeks. So the structure is getting better. But that, I think, you sort of miss a lot of opportunities by having it in that sort of one sort of 3 day block. Whereas when I was in Wellington, playing even as a younger girl, like I was in at that stage, it was called the NPC comp, which basically was club, NPC, then Black Ferns. Even as a 15, 16-year-old, we were playing weekly competitions, against Canterbury or against Hawke's Bay. So the structure was definitely a lot better. So there wasn't much of, I think, there wasn't really development squads or any sort of extra steps in between to make it there, which for some people can be quite difficult.
Yeah.
I think being an older, sort of a bit more mature, being around that environment, I sort of relished in taking that opportunity. But I think for some people that can, yeah, well, it can go either way. You can either sort of really make the most of that opportunity, or you sort of need those extra stepping stones to be able to get there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, what a very interesting career path. And in saying that, like you said before, here in Aotearoa, you've got some pretty good development programs to get for women's rugby. Is there money to be made in rugby for women?
And here that they are making small changes. The problem at the moment in Australia that people are having, especially in women's grade, is that AFL cricket, the NRLW, those are sort of able to offer a lot more to their players, whereas rugby union is not quite competing with that. So, not. I think they are. You might get a little sort of small payment when you do go away. When I first made the squad, you got nothing. I went to a World Cup to Ireland for 5 weeks. We didn't get anything. One of our ambassadors for rugby, they gave us a donation, but we had to fund to basically be away for 5 weeks. You didn't have to pay anything while you were gone, but we weren't given anything financially to sort of support us while we were away. Whereas the year after, I think we did get a small amount. If you were sort of in the 23, if you weren't in the 23, that was different again. So it's not something you can live off, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and why you say that, I think that the same in here in Aotearoa was similar. We've just slightly just seen this year the women's like IPS sort of type thing, where the women's teams here are similar to like the Chiefs playing the Hurricanes type thing for the
Yeah,
female version. So that's been very. I think I find that more interesting to watching the guys' games,
yeah.
but in the
Oh,
sense
no.
that it's like really cool to see that there is a stepping stone, like you said, from that grade into becoming a black fern, or you know, the similarities with Australia. And saying that, and like people will had some questions. So funding your own way, you still had to take time off work, time away from your families for 5 weeks,
Yeah, yeah,
and that would have been a strain on itself. So that's a huge commitment. So you don't have to just commit um, like your time and your energy. You still got to commit like your whole self
yeah,
into the sport.
yeah. Well,
Do you
when
think there's? Oh, sorry, carry on.
no, what were you saying?
Oh, do you think that there is um, do you think that there's going to be a space where we're going to find a fine line that the female rugby will be well supported financially like the men's rugby? Do you think that we're on the road and securing a funder or funders um, to be in that position where our female teams will get supported like how the men's teams are?
I honestly, I think that's a long way down the track.
Yeah,
I mean, when you, I don't know the figures specifically, but if you were to say, look at what the men would receive in comparison to what the women would receive, it would be the smallest percentage that women are getting. So if that is to happen, I mean, I'm all for that. I think the expectation for women to do well is there without realizing that people do have their families. People, these women have kids. They've got other commitments, um, while also still giving a lot of time and effort to rugby, and not just that. I mean, travel costs as well. Like 2018, when I made the squad again, um, I'd moved out to Morven. So Morven is 2 hours further west than me. So because I had the passion to want to continue to being in the Wallaroo squad, I had to be seen by coaches. So
yeah,
every week for probably about 3 or 4 months, I was driving 8 hours down to Brisbane to train with my club, do any sort of state level training, play rugby with my club, and then travel back. So, and the reason why I ended up taking a break from rugby is because financially I just could not support it while living so far away. And I think the reason I was able, for one, to make that team that year was I was lucky enough to get also a rugby contract in Spain, sort of 2017 after World Cup. Going into 2018, I was playing rugby over there for 7 months. So I think the fact that I'd still been playing, and my coach was able to watch a couple of the games and see me in Brisbane, I think that's what basically got me across the line to be in that sort of 2018 squad as well. But financially, it's a struggle. It's definitely a struggle.
Wow, what an amazing story. Inspiring in the sense of, people just assume when you make a big time in a in a sport like rugby, for example, um, and it's probably the similar to netball and oh, and hockey and all that sort of stuff. That yeah, they just automatically think that you've got it made in the sport arena, and so
Yeah,
that's an amazing story of courage and courage and determination
yeah.
to step forward during at that time. So what what are you doing at the moment in regards to sports wise, or are you still playing rugby? Are you coaching? Are you in a development squad?
No, no. So at the moment, I think once I come back after that 2000, that stint in, well, the 2017 rugby, going overseas to Spain, and then coming back and playing in Australia here. My body was a bit my bank account was probably a little bit a bit flourished as well. So I sort of made the decision to just step away from the game, just to let my sort of body recover, my bank account replenish, um, and again, being sort of where I am, it just makes it really quite difficult. So at the moment where I am, they have quite a good sevens team. Um, I did get asked if I could coach one of a couple of the teams, because again, there's not a lot of rugby here. So I was really looking forward to being part of sort of a coaching of one of the sevens competitions, but that was also when I was back home. So unfortunately, I missed out on that. Um, and at the moment, I'm really sort of not doing anything too much in particular with rugby. Um, but there is a competition. There is a in 2 weeks' time. There's a big sevens comp going on here in Roma, so I'm really looking forward to going down to watch. I don't know. I don't even know people here. I'm just going to go down with my tukuri and blimmin, sit at the end and just enjoy being back in that sort of atmosphere and around like-minded people too. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Oh wow, good on you. And
Mm.
yeah, thank you for sharing that because being so vulnerable in this time where you know rugby, like I said, people think that because you play a professional sport that you get a professional payment that goes with it, and and it's yeah, you're so right, and that's exactly the same with any sport. There is a fine line between um, men's sports and similar for women's sport, and so it's a really hard gap per
Yeah.
se to be supported in rather than them. Well, thank you for that part of the court. I told you it wasn't going to be too strenuous around the questions to do with the rugby, but you definitely have had a awesome career, and even though you're resting your body and your bank account, it just means that there's a development plan for our young Maori women that are watching tonight, that that they're still, you can still participate in these sort of things, and yes, you've got to have some determination and some aroha when you go into these sort of sports. And I'm not just talking about rugby, it could be netball or any other sport like basketball. And over these last, like today, I've seen so many young women participating on the court, and it's just amazing to see how our Maori kids are thriving when they adapt themselves to any sport. And so it's a beautiful thing. Anyway,
Yeah.
My next thing, I've got some easy questions now. If these are just like these funny ones that you think.
Yeah.
Um, my first question is, do you have snakes or big spiders where you live?
Yes.
Okay,
Both. Yeah. No.
both.
Yeah.
Have you got? Have you seen like? Is there a snake in the back of your yard? Like I've seen some backyards, and their grass is so long, and I'm not even going to open the door or window. Um.
No. No. Where I am now, it's sort of not too bad. In
Okay.
my house in Morven, so where I normally go. So at the moment, I'm a bit lazy with my dogs. So what I do is I take them. There's an airport strip that's fenced. I normally run them in there just because I've got a pig hunting dog that likes to sort of get into things. So I will normally run them there. But every now and then I might get a stray kangaroo that goes in. My dogs will chase it down, yeah, finish it off. But to get them, the grass is really long to get in there, and I'll be calling him back. Come back here, man! You got to come back, and I won't walk in because I'm normally in jandals, and I'm like, nah, no, thank you, nah. There's snakes in there, and I have driven down there before and seen massive ones. Like, ugh,
Oh yeah, no,
yeah.
no. I was. Where was I? I was in Tasmania. I was doing a youth event or something like that in Tasmania, and there was a we were huntsman spider, but
Yeah.
they're harmless, eh? But they're huge,
Oh,
they're
I don't
ugly.
like those. No, I don't
No,
like those either.
they're like
They like toy
tarantulas.
with you.
Yeah. Anyway, I was lying, I was lying in the bed at this campsite, talking right there, and then all I felt was this something just walking
Oh.
over me, and then I just had, and then I just like it was a silent scream, like honestly, it was and then I just grabbed anything that I could grab and just started like. I know. I was like, they said those are harmless. I said, oh, I don't care. It's
No,
ooh.
I,
And
I
then
don't like those.
the next sorry, and then the next part was that on that same place we were packing all the stuff away from the event that we were doing, and then I went to go, and then one of the guys go, oh anyway, it's all right, we will do it, you go over there. I was like, oh no, I can do it. Anyway, the guy knew I was going to freak out, but there was I went to go lift it up, and there was a scorpion, like
Oh,
literally on the thing, and I just dropped it and ran. And
yeah,
he goes,
yeah.
"I haven't seen a Māori run so quick." And I was going, "Oh my!" It was and he goes, "Well, I tried to tell you," and I was like, "You didn't say there was a scorpion there." He goes, "Yeah, no, because you would have did exactly what you just did." And I was like, "Oh no, yeah,
No,
no." So
a lot of
yeah,
their like watering holes or where they like their dams and stuff like that. They'll go in and swim in there, and it's all good. And the first time they said, oh, it was summer, so it was hot as hell. And they said, oh, Nella, we'll go to our friend's house. They've got a dam there, and we'll go for a swim there. We'll take the dogs, all good. Yep, sweet as. And we got there, and this was the dirtiest looking bit of water I'd ever seen. And I said, I'm not getting in there. They were like, what do you mean? I said, you can't even see the bottom. There could be crocodiles in there. No, we don't have crocodiles in this part of Australia. I was like, are you a crocodile? Do you know? And I said, well, what are you used to? I said, we grew up, with rivers and beaches. I was like, I said, we used to go up to my nanny's house and swim in the river constantly. I was like, and you could always see the bottom. I was like, man, you could drink the water. I was like, I ain't getting in that water. Like, oh, man, no, thank
oh,
you.
you and I are both related, definitely,
Yeah.
because I would have been the same. Yeah, we went to a watering hole at the same. Oh, no, this was in Brisbane. We went to this watering hole, and they said, "Oh, it's just around the corner." Just around the corner to me is like around the corner, not
Yeah,
like
yeah,
4 hours that way to
yeah,
get to
no.
this blimmin' place. Anyway,
Yeah,
get there, and it was exactly that murky brown watery. I said, um, that's either mud pool or dirt. And they said,
yeah.
mud pool? I said, I'd rather get in a mud pool than into that dirty water. And
Yeah.
they go, oh my gosh. He goes, what did he goes? Oh, you are a privileged child. And I was going, oh no, I know what paru is, and that's paru.
Yeah,
That's what
no,
that
no,
is.
that's
And I,
exactly
but I
the
said
same
exactly
thing.
the same thing. I said, you don't know what's in there. There could be some snakes, those water snakes, and everything.
Yeah,
And then,
yeah.
and then he's just looking at me, going, "Oh my gosh!" I said, "That's why I don't live here in Australia." Just
Oh,
saying.
the
But yeah,
wildlife, I don't know how I deal with it, because the wildlife, when you do come across something, I can't deal. Like, I've been here for 12 years. The wildlife, I can't deal with. Summers, I still can't deal with summers. Like, where I live, 2 hours further west, like, it gets up to 40 degrees and I just melt. Everyone's like, oh, it's a nice day. I'm like, oh, where? This is hot.
it's a nice day. Okay,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
yours. Although, when you were back, you were probably freezing.
No, but other than, I reckon, considering Wellington weather, and I was there for 2 months, I reckon it probably rained for about a week. It was beautiful weather, like, the whole
Yeah.
time. So it was really nice to be home and sort of enjoy like a normal temperature.
Yeah. Yes, normal temperature. That's the key word,
Yeah,
normal
yeah.
temperature, not these
25
ridiculous heat
degrees, and it's,
waves. Yeah.
yeah, and it's hot,
Yeah.
and I'm Kate Pie with that. So it's funny because now people are saying, "Oh, it's getting hot, it's getting colder here at the moment. Oh, you'll have to start putting the heater on." I'm like, "The heater on?" I said, "I still use the aircon unit, like, to go to sleep at night. It was 25 degrees last night at 8 o'clock. I'm like,
Oh yeah,
I'm
no,
sweet as in
that's
shorts and a t-shirt.
yeah, that's warm. Hey, that's warm.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the normal
exactly.
temperature of our summer here.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Oh,
Oh,
nice. Okay, here's my first question. Okay, swimming in the sea or the lake?
oh, the sea.
Do you like diving for kaimoana or get someone else to dive
No,
for you?
Dad never used to take us doing that. I think just I love the salt water. I love the waves. I love the sand under my feet. Like, I feel a real connection to the water. So
Yeah.
it's probably another thing, living so far where I live, is I'm not near the sea, and I
See.
struggle with that. So yeah, I'd go, well,
Well,
any
especially
body
when
of
you
water.
well, especially when you've been by the sea for so most of your life.
Yeah, yeah,
Living down in Wellington and stuff like that. So yeah, no,
yeah.
definitely.
Hard out.
Fry bread or rewana?
Or fry bread, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Last one, chocolate or ice cream?
Ice cream.
Yeah, what flavor?
Oh, see, I like to mix my flavors. So I'm a Neapolitan kind of girl. Or
Um,
it's got to be, you got to have some chocolate with some like fruity mix, and I think that I get that from Dad, where I could have a scoop of chocolate and a boysenberry, and it's just, yum.
oh, right. No, that's a good one.
Yeah,
I've never, I've never heard of that one before. Yes,
yeah.
I like actually while we're on the ice cream thing, I like getting those pink wafers. You know those square ones.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and putting a chocolate one, and then another ice cream like hokey pokey, and then another one, and make it into like a big triple decker thingy one, and then I have it like that. So similar, but but it has to have something else to thing it with. So yeah,
No, I think that's why just the different flavors with the chocolate and the fruit just give it a nice balance.
yeah, I think you're right too.
Yeah.
Anyway, my cousin, thank you very much for joining me tonight. 33 minutes. See, it went
Yep.
so quick when you've got a beautiful kaupapa to talk about. But thank you very much for joining me tonight. You have inspired not only myself, but so many people. I bet that will be watching this on our different platforms. So, Fano, thank you for joining us tonight. Either on our platforms on the website, the Facebook pages, or on YouTube. These will be put up on, and people can watch them throughout the whole duration of the year. They're going to be up on the website and on Facebook and YouTube for a whole year. So you can catch up on the kaupapa korero for tonight that we just finished discussing. So, cousin, thank you very much for being here with me tonight. it's always lovely to catch up with you, and it was even better to catch up with you in person. Even though it was a sad occasion, it was a beautiful occasion when you can catch up with whānau. And so, ngā mihi nui ki a koe, cousin, and all the best for going to watch the rugby games down the road. And but yeah, good luck in your future endeavours while you're over there in Australia. Uh, you've done us all so proud. Your whānau here in Aotearoa so proud, and you continue to do that. Even if you're not playing professional rugby anymore, but I still remember your dad telling me, telling us when he came in, so he goes, "Oh, I don't know, my daughter's playing for Australia."
Well, I took it as a positive that he didn't say anything about it, so I thought, oh well, he must be, staunch Māori tūhoi man,
Yeah,
very, very few words. So I took that as a
but
sign. I must be doing
yeah.
something all right.
Yeah, no,
So no,
he just said that. He goes, no. I said, oh wow, at least she's like, at least she made it. With the rest of us, we're still here. Although, yeah, professionally, as a player, congratulations in actually reaching that milestone. Not only for yourself but for your whānau.
yeah, no,
And that
thank,
you've done us all so proud, and we are so proud of you.
yeah, no,
Um,
thank you, and thank you
no,
for having me and allowing me to have my little korero on here. So,
no,
if it helps
it's
someone, then
yeah.
that's kei te
Well,
whai.
this month, so this month whānau is called Mana Wahine month, and so we just took into consideration there's a lot of wahine that are out there, ordinary wahine just doing ordinary things with exceptional things in life, and you're definitely one of those ones, my cousin. And so a big thank you for joining me tonight and for joining the kaupapa kōrero for Mana Wahine. So kia ora whānau, and this brings us to the end of the show. It's a nice time that we can just chill out and actually have a kaupapa kōrero. Next week, we've got the Mana Tāne, I think. So yes, we've got Mana Tāne coming up next week, and with our very guest speaker coming up. I will be posting that up very shortly. I think by chance he's a comedian, maybe. I've got to double check. I've got to double check. I forget who's on which days these days. So, I better not get it wrong. But in saying that, every year, every night, whānau, we do a tautoko a Māori business. So catch up with the tautoko page on who we are going to be supporting. And so one viewer will get the chance to win a beautiful taonga from that particular place. And all you need to do is type in the answer to the question on the page. And that's how you can win the prize. So, in saying that, ngā mihi nui kia koutou katoa, he mihi mahana tēnei kia koutou. Thank you for joining Thankful Thursday for 2022. We will see you next week, same place, same time. E nohora.